Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Office or Microsoft or whatever 365 Pulse. Thank you for joining us today. We've got just a few quick updates about what is going on the roadmap. I'll do one first and then I'll pass it. But there's one on there for in development. Now, this means Microsoft is working on it. It's behind the scenes getting built. And this is Microsoft Copilot. This is use a web link to reference files in Word. I'm happy about this because then if it doesn't show up in the drop down, which I've had a hard time getting them always to show up, so I'm excited I can link to a document. So that's the command you would use, like, build me a document like different things like that. So I'm excited to see that one coming. Also, you're going to be able to use up to 3 files when you're working on starting a document. So you can say like these or pull these from different things. So it's just increasing some of the limits that we see right now inside of Copilot. Same with Excel. I think this, I'm going to wrap in a few Copilot ones. The other one with Excel is being able to do complex formulas across tables and charts. So that's a good one too, because that's a lot of the stuff that you need. In Excel and Copilot, it's really great because it will say, you could say, hey, I want to do this. And then it will say, hey, do you want me to do it for you? So it takes some of those actions and actually completes them for you. So being able to reference cross tables is really good. And then the other one that I'll do before I pass it on is the browse OneDrive and SharePoint folders to ground prompts in Copilot. And so that whole concept of grounding prompts is where you're saying, hey, based on this container, and then the information that's in the graph, give me my answer. So grounding, we hear a lot about prompting and prompt engineering now. I think grounding is going to be the next concept that we go after when we kind of want to shrink down the data source. But excited to see those things coming as Copilot just keeps getting better and better and changing. So it's the new change, but excited about those. So those are my Copilot updates, and then I'll pass it to Tom.
Oh, I was going to go ahead and pass it to my wife, Tamara.
We'll pass it to Tamara then.
Tamara, go for it.
All right. Well, there's a couple that I really like. One is Microsoft Teams. Where'd it go now? Here we go. Microsoft Teams chat for organizers and presenters in webinars. Now, we had this in live events, but this is going to allow your presenters and organizers to have that background conversation that they need in order to make the webinar run smoothly, especially if you're doing a big webinar. So organizations, co-organizers, and presenters can chat privately in a separate chat from attendees. This chat is available to access before, during, and after the event. And what goes along with that is Microsoft Teams, the ability to block attendee emails from Teams webinar. So this feature allows organizers of webinars to block the sending of attendee emails from Microsoft Teams. That's coming in May of 2024.
And that's coming to webinars and town hall events.
Yes.
There's another item. They have them on 2 separate items. Well, maybe that's because they might launch at separate times, but it's also
no,
down there.
Both May. Yeah.
Awesome. How about you, Tom?
What do you have, Tom?
So in Microsoft Planner, increased number of tasks per premium plan in Microsoft Planner. So this is creating and managing up to 1,500 tasks within a Microsoft Planner premium plan, formerly known as a project for the web project. So if you're thinking, how do I manage like 1,500 little task squares and the whole bit? Well, keep in mind, this is a lot of project stuff has been rolled into Planner, and that's what we're basically talking about here, is you can now go up to 1,500 for that project for the web type thing. So keep in mind that that is coming in May. I believe that's coming worldwide in GCC, so a little bit beyond just the worldwide. Then we have Microsoft 365 Admin Center organizational messages. So this is kind of interesting. Organizational messages allow enterprises to connect with their organization through customized messages, much like it sounds. enabling them to engage directly within the Microsoft product experiences that they use every day, like Windows Spotlight. Starting spring of 2024, organizational messages will be found under the Reports section within the Admin Center and will include features for admins to centrally manage their tenants' messages, create new messages, and review delivery reports. So I think this is good in terms of being able to push out messages that could increase the adoption or let people know about things that may be new features that you really want them to get in front of. So you're going to have that ability. This is in June of 2024 and coming out worldwide. And then the final one will mention, because it kind of applies to what my browser looks like right now. And that
I
is,
like this one.
yeah, Microsoft Edge, auto discarding sleeping tabs. And this is having
Let a
nothing to do with
sleeping
sleeping
tab
beauties.
lie.
Yes. So tabs that have been sleeping for a long time, which is probably the majority of them I have down my left-hand side, will be
Mhm.
discarded to save memory. At first, I'm like, don't discard it. I'm still using it. But wait, there's an explanation. When a user navigates back to a discarded tab, the tab will need to be reloaded. This can be managed through the Auto Discard Sleeping Tabs Enabled policy. This policy will be enabled if the Sleeping Tab Enabled policy is enabled. Okay. Uh, so this will be nice in the fact that I have a lot of tabs open, and I know that Edge for me ends up being a real memory hog because I've got so many tabs open. I like the idea that this is going to start discarding them, and I'm reading this to mean that discard means I've basically gotten rid of everything behind the scenes, but the tab is still there. So when I click on it, it's not just like open it up to the current thing. It's like I need to actually do a refresh on it. And I'm perfectly okay with that. I just don't want to lose the things that I'm working on as part of the task that may have 3 or 4 tabs that I want to keep open for this particular task. That's coming out in May, and that is coming out to worldwide. So keep an eye open for that if that's of interest to you.
Cool. Do you have anything else in development, Tamara?
I don't.
How about you, Tom?
Rolling out now.
Sweet. Well, I've got one for rolling out that,
What you got?
hashtag new Outlook for Windows. But this would be the new Outlook for Windows search for tasks using Microsoft To Do. So having a To Do module in Outlook that is going to let you search across their tasks. They're almost getting there. I think I'm right on the verge of needing to say, okay, I need to force myself to open the new Outlook and use it until I find a feature I can't. I haven't done that in a few weeks, so I think I'm getting, the more and more things they put out, I'm like, that'd be kind of cool. So we'll see. See if I try it. But that's the one that I saw that I like there. There's not a whole ton, so I'll pass it to my party and see what they have so I don't steal all the thunder. Go ahead, Tamara. Oh, is that
Do
the
a little
rolling out dance?
That's the rolling out dance.
Hello.
So, yeah.
This is life in
Microsoft
Casa Tam
Teams
Tom, people.
app suggestions by task in context stores. So users think about which tasks they need to complete, such as creating a survey inside of Teams. Now, app suggestions will be organized by tasks the app's support as opposed to conventional categories, productivity, project management. As a result, the new categorization will reduce the amount of time users need to spend learning about these apps, helping them to work more effectively. The task-based app suggestion will be added to the tabs, messaging extension, and bots in context stores. I thought that was
Very
cool.
cool. Very cool. Very cool. How about you, Tom? What are you liking?
I'll mention a couple here. One, and I'm not quite sure I fully understand what they're getting at here, but Outlook presence is back to Outlook on the web. Just the title is really confusing to me. But it says Teams presence will be shown in compose and read scenarios for recipients, co-recipients, and sender. The bubble indicators will provide contacts status and help you decide the best way to communicate with them.
So that's going to show you red, green, yellow. It's the
Okay.
status indicator.
And we didn't have that currently in Outlook on the web, apparently. Okay.
Not in
That
the
would
new
make
version.
sense. Okay. Well,
And
cool.
I think it says it's back because I think it very briefly came out and got taken away.
Okay. That was where I was finding. It's like, I thought we probably had that.
I think
No,
that's what that means there.
that makes sense. I also was confused about the fact they let it off with Teams presence. Like, well,
Well, I
why
think
are
they're
we doing
trying to
Outlook
get
with
us,
Teams here?
but I think they're just trying to get us one presence to rule them all,
There
whether it's
you go.
Teams or Outlook or what. So I think I think
Okay.
there's a lot of words, and I think someone who is clearly deep in a project wrote this because there's so much like it makes sense to probably whoever wrote it and whoever's working on it. And then the rest of us are kind of like, well,
Huh?
maybe.
Yeah. So I just want presence. That's all there is to it. The last one I will mention is Microsoft Stream playlist support for Stream web part in SharePoint. So the Stream web part used when adding video to SharePoint pages and sites will soon start supporting embedding playlists from the same site in grid and theater layouts. So to date, basically using this web part, you had to go out and say, oh, here's my video, or here's the videos I want to show. Now they're basically taking that concept of a stream playlist and allowing you to embed the playlist, which is great if you have a site that has like training material that you want to say, okay, watch this in that order. You'll be able to put the playlist out there, list those, and it starts to provide some context and some structure as to why you're wanting them to view these and in what order. So I think that's a really good one that is in the process of rolling out, and it's going out across the board. So that's a good thing.
Awesome. Well, I don't have anything else in rolling out. Tamara or Tom, if you don't, then Tamara, why don't you take launched? Because there's not very many in
There's nothing in
launched.
there that interests me. Go for it.
Well,
would you like me to go to radio voice? I can do
Go
this.
to radio voice.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
Microsoft Purview Compliance Portal, eDiscovery Premium Hold Reports. Out of the box reports that contain information about all legal holds associated with eDiscovery cases in the Microsoft Purview Compliance Portal. Sort and filter your view based on various criteria and download the aggregated information for further analysis. Launched in April. Second one, Microsoft Viva Learning, ability to recommend courses to groups. This is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, this was cool.
Allows users to use existing user groups when making, there's a whole lot of HTML in there I have to scan through, recommendations, and a bunch more HTML in the description. And the final one, Microsoft Viva Glint, question level permissions. Enable question level permissions for survey takers. And that's also launched in April.
Well, cool. Well, for canceled, there's two. Microsoft Teams Workspace Management. And so they're basically not releasing this feature. And they're sorry for any inconvenience this causes you. But
so
that
sorry.
was a feature with Teams Admin Center that provided an integrated view of Teams devices, profiles, and location and relevant information about them. That's not coming. And then the other one that's there is just hey, we accidentally put this in the roadmap twice, so we're removing it. Happens. A lot of teams work on different things, but that's Outlook working hours and locations. The feature's staying. It's just under a different roadmap item, so they're just cleaning up the roadmap. That's really all we have this week. Very short on updates, but again, this is what we expect. The Microsoft SharePoint conference, or I guess the M365 conference, previously known as the SharePoint conference, that's going to have all the Teams updates, all the SharePoint updates, probably a gabillion Copilot updates. We're going to start to get all of those announcements in 2 weeks. And so I'm assuming they're going to have a moment, and then that moment will impact the roadmap. So I'm guessing we will see a lot more in the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
Tom will tone up his radio voice for all those things that need to be discussed.
I love it. Well, everybody, thanks
Awesome.
for watching and coming to the show, and we'll see you next week with more updates.
Bye now.